Hi, I'm Heather Gottlieb, and I'm at the grave of Fanny Rosalind Hicks Givens in Eastern Cemetery in Louisville. And I do want to thank the Friends of Eastern Cemetery for doing such an amazing job maintaining the cemetery with some really, really important civil rights figures in the city of Louisville and figures in the suffrage movement. So Fanny Rosalind Hicks Givens was born in 1864 to parents who had been enslaved, and she was educated and got married in Chicago, and then made her way to Louisville, where she became the premier portrait artist for many, many people, bank presidents, and lots of important people in society. She actually had a portrait of an ambassador that hung in the Harrison White House. She also was one of the only and first black female police officers in the city of Louisville. She lost her job because they said she didn't contribute to the solving of crime in the city. However, she was very integral, she argued, to solving crimes involving women. So here's another really important figure in the movement in Louisville.
I'm currently at the Louisville Cemetery, where we're visiting the grave of Mary Virginia Cook Parish, who was important for a lot of reasons. Mary was known for her incredible intellect, and she was an amazingly engaging speaker as well. When she was still in her 20s, she served as an officer for the National Association of Colored Women, or the NACW. She consistently graduated at the top of her class until later she became the principal of the school she went to, and then a teacher of Latin and mathematics at State University. Mary wrote and edited columns for a variety of newspapers, but it was usually under a pen name, Grace Ermine. And she also petitioned for Louisville to add the first African American playground in the city. The site behind me belongs to the Verhoff family, and the two sisters, Mary and Carolyn, were incredibly active in the suffrage movement at the turn of the century. Now, Mary was involved in the National Women's Party, which picketed the White House in 1917. This was a militant branch of the movement founded by Alice Paul. She was also a labor reformer and an educator in her own right. And her sister, Carolyn, was a kindergarten teacher and an education reformer herself. She also was an animal welfare advocate, so she founded what would later become the Kentucky Humane Society.
This is the Brandeis family plot at the Temple Cemetery. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because their cousin, Louis Brandeis, was the first Jewish Supreme Court justice to serve in the United States. And this family had no shortage of amazing people in it. I want to talk today about Florence. So Florence was born in 1860 and she died in 1941. And she was a female physician in the city of Louisville when that was unheard of. She went to the second university in the world, the University of Pennsylvania, to accept women as students to become physicians. And after that, she began a legacy of public health in Louisville. So when she was just in her 20s in 1887, she opened Louisville's first nursing school. She was also an advocate of public health at a time when it was just catching on that germs cause diseases, and she's helped support the construction of playgrounds in Louisville's parks. So she's one of those really amazing women who was championing children and championing health and championing this progressive view of modern life and helping make it a reality here in Louisville.
I'm in Cave Hill Cemetery, and the site behind me belongs to Susan Look Avery. Susan's story is important because she was one of the first generations of suffragists here in Louisville, and she unfortunately never was able to exercise her right to vote during her lifetime. But she didn't become a social reformer full-time until she was 68 years old. Susan moved to Louisville in 1847 with her husband, Benjamin, and Benjamin owned a very successful plow company. And after he died, using that money, she helped fund a lot of suffrage campaigns locally. And with the money, she founded organizations like the Louisville Equal Rights Association and the Kentucky Association of the same name. And finally, the Women's Club of Louisville. With her influence, she was able to invite prominent speakers to Louisville, people who included Susan B. Anthony, Booker T. Washington, Lucy Stone, and Henry Blackwell, just to name a few.